Part 1. Chapter 1. A Tired Old Workhorse. Some experts think that if Hitler had had 50 more U-boats in 1939, he probably would have won the war. Wolfgang Frank, The Sea Wolves. 8-year-old Raymond "Sonny" Downes, Jr. was disappointed by the drab gray freighter called Aradia looming above him at a port in Costa Rica. Sonny had steamed from the United States to South America 11 months earlier, and that ship had been a cruise liner with all the comforts of a 5-star hotel. Now, on May 12, 1942, his return trip to the States would be aboard the Aradia, an old ship that was primarily transporting produce rather than pampered passengers. The big difference, however, between his earlier voyage and the one he was about to embark on was the risk. The United States had entered World War II 5 months earlier, and Germany had sent her U-boats toward the Americas for what they considered easy hunting. Sonny was aware that war had broken out, but at this moment he was more intrigued with the giant cargo nets of bananas that were being loaded onto the Aradia. He and his 11-year-old sister Betty Lucille, who preferred the name Lucille over Betty, ran up the gangplank to the ship's deck for a better view of the stevedores working below. Lucille, brown-eyed, with a dimpled chin and a full head taller than Sonny, didn't know there were this many bananas in all of Costa Rica and Colombia, where they had been living these last few months. Other workers were loading heavy sacks onto the ship, and Sonny, never shy, asked a senior crew member of the Aradia what was in them. "Coffee, young man. All bound for the U.S." "We thought so," said Lucille. "Thought we could smell coffee."
"Well, you're too young for coffee, but would you two like a Coke?"
"You bet," exclaimed Sonny.
"Okay. Follow me to the galley."
Lucille shouted down the gangplank to their parents, telling him that they were going to the galley, and the two youngsters skipped away, Sonny barefoot. Maybe this trip is going to be a good one, thought Sonny. It doesn't matter how old the ship is if the crew is nice. Sonny was correct. It wasn't every day that children were on board the freighter, and the crew was more than accommodating. In fact, only 10 of the 62 people aboard the ship were passengers. 6 were members of the Navy assigned to man the guns mounted on top of the bridge, and the rest were crew. And yes, the 4,700-ton Aradia had steamed many a mile since she was built 34 years earlier in 1908. Powered by an oil-burning engine that turned a massive propeller, the steel ship was 378 feet long and had a large funnel that belched black smoke from the spent fuel. Although the vessel was originally a passenger ship named the General Pershing, it had been converted to a freighter by the United Fruit and Steamship Company and renamed Aradia. Most of its former elegance had been worn away by time and rust, and now it was a tired old workhorse. But as Sonny and Lucille Downes bounded after the crewmen toward the galley, they couldn't wait to get underway and explore every inch of the freighter before they expected to reach New Orleans in 7 days. The children's father, Raymond Downes Sr., who worked as a steam engine railroad mechanic, also looked forward to the voyage and returning to the States. When the Japanese bombed Pearl Harbor 5 months earlier on December 7, 1941, Ray had made up his mind that it was time for him and his family to leave South America and return home. Although he was 36 years old, he was hoping to join the Marines and serve his country. Ray was certainly in good enough shape to fight. At 6 feet and 200 pounds, he had strong upper body strength and unending stamina. Couple that with his quick and ambidextrous fists, and Ray was a formidable opponent should anyone underestimate him in a challenge. He'd had his share of fights, yet he told Sonny more than once, "Don't go looking for a fight, but if there is one, get the first lick in." Ray lived life in a straightforward, no-nonsense manner and taught his children that if they worked hard, good things would come. That mindset had served Ray well, and his job with the United Fruit in Colombia had paid handsomely. But now he was anxious to get home and be a part of his country's response to Japan's sneak attack. Like many young men at the time, patriotism was running high.